The LGBTQ community are a vibrant part, an integral part of our society, because society ultimately is about human beings and we're all equal in society. Unfortunately, people aren't always treated equally, and that is a problem. And I want to say tonight that I, myself, as our leader here in the North and as our Vice President of Sinn Féin, along with my colleagues, some of which are here tonight, Megan Féin, and right across the political spectrum, it doesn't matter who you are or where you get your mandate. You're elected to represent all people in society, and that's what our job is whenever we're sent to legislate. I'm certainly determined, and it's not just a platitude, it's not just nice words. I'm determined by both my words and my deeds to make sure that your voices are heard, and it's certain that you enjoy the same rights, the same entitlements, the same benefits that everybody else should enjoy. That's not a privilege, it's just your right. So I'm determined to make sure that happens. There is no room, absolutely no room, for second-class citizenship in our society. For anyone, no matter who you are, where you come from, who you live, how you choose to live your life, there is no room for second-class citizenship. I certainly have a positive vision. I have a positive vision about what our society looks like, a positive vision about how we must move forward together in all of our diversity, in all of our traditions, but we must move forward together. I and the party are absolutely committed to progress, to give people a better quality of life, to ensure an even-handed approach from government towards each and every single citizen and community. And as others have alluded to, as you know, we're in the middle of political talks with the two governments, with the other parties, to try and have this Assembly and Executive up running. But the point at the very heart of the political impasse is that this Assembly and this did not deliver for all people. But that's what I'm determined to achieve, because I do believe in local ministers taking decisions. I do believe in making politics work here. I do believe in power sharing, but that government must govern for all of our people. There is a blockade, which many of you know, there is a political blockade by a minority of political parties here in the North, and that blockade is to through equality for our LGBT and Q community, and it's not sustainable. It cannot continue, and it will not continue. Sinn Féin will play no part in state-sponsored discrimination. As legislators, we have a duty, a moral obligation to put citizens' rights first, before our own personal beliefs, in order to fulfil our public duty and to protect everyone equally before the law. As legislators, you have to lead from the front. We must promote the health, mental health and well-being of lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender people. We must promote a culture of respect and a culture of security. Society has changed, so the law of the land must reflect that change. Marriage equality is the symbol of what needs to change. But we also, as John said earlier, we recognise that there are so many more issues that need to be dealt with. We must work together on things like, for example, changing societal attitudes. There is much more to be done. Gender recognition, access to safe and appropriate healthcare, more LGBTQ visibility, reform in relationship and sex education, transphobic and homophobic hate crime, the reporting of domestic and sexual violence, employment opportunities, and I'm quite sure there's many, many more things that people in this room could name this evening. Our economy depends on a strong social rights if we're to continue to attract others to come and invest here. So I want to acknowledge actually and applaud the lead partner, City, as well as the supporting partner, Ulster Bank, for sponsoring tonight's event, because it's hugely significant and hugely important. These are two employers who obviously get it, because they understand the need to take inclusivity serious. They, and others like them, understand that staff should be able to bring their whole self to work, to get up in the morning and bring your whole self to your day's work. They understand inclusion drives better individual, business and organisational outcomes, and that helps our economy. So that is a good thing. The linkage between a tolerant, progressive society and a prosperous society can't be understated. So tonight I also want to thank and congratulate the Love Equality campaign and all of those activists and organisations who are working on your behalf. We want to work with us in progressive political leadership to end inequality, to end discrimination and to end exclusion. This year marks the 50th anniversary of the Stonewall Riots, a seminal event in the LGBT history and the history in the struggle for equality. And those people that stood up and took a stand at Stonewall, and those who were influenced by them here and elsewhere across the world, are rightly regarded as heroes in the campaign for LGBT equality. And closer to home, as others have mentioned, I want to acknowledge the efforts and the activism of someone who stood up and someone who championed the LGBT community and fought against equality and the denial of rights. And that person was Leas McKee, a young activist who was probably known to many of you here this evening, but who certainly made her mark on society. We think about our family and our friends this evening as we all gather. She was a great LGBT activist and she was a great champion for our wider community. So tonight, I think it's important that we remember Leas and we acknowledge her legacy. As we all strive together to make change happen in the weeks ahead, I think solidarity is hugely important. We must recognise that a right denied to one is a right denied to all. I was delighted at the recent the Rally for Love Equality, where at that event, I think it was John got up onto the stage and he sent out solidarity. Solidarity to our Gaelgory, to women, to victims of the conflict, to victims of historical institutional abuse, and to all those who know what it's like to be treated as less than. I think that's hugely significant. So tonight, to our LGBT brothers and sisters, you are right to expect and to demand, not that you should have to, but you're certainly right to expect and to demand that you enjoy the same rights as everyone else, rights that others take for granted. So, for those of us that want the same things, we must work together to achieve them. The days of majoritarianism are over. We do live in a rainbow society. That must be reflected in our politics, with no more vetoes, no more prejudice. The only thing that we all truly have in common is that we're all different. That's the one thing that we do all have in common. So let's embrace our diversity. Let's cherish all of our children. And let's build a better future together, because I think that is the only way forward and that is the vision for the future. Gormila Maov.